Hi, everybody. It's Peter Schiff. This is Thursday, July 21st, 2011. Well, the dollar has been getting beat up pretty badly, particularly today. A lot of investors are moving back into the euro as some of the sovereign debt fears are momentarily being moved to the back burner. The euro is up strongly today. The euro is now about $1.43 and change. But if you look at some of the other currencies, the dollar is really getting beaten up. It is at new lows for the year against the New Zealand dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Japanese yen. Other currencies like the Aussie dollar, the Swiss franc are very close to all-time record highs. The dollar index is back around 74. I think we've broken down out of a rising wedge formation. I think that the path is now clear for more dollar selling. In fact, we had so much negativity on the euro, and people were thinking the dollar was going to win that beauty contest by default. But I think the dollar has more warts than the euro, and I think right now people are starting to notice those warts. And even in a beauty contest with the euro, the dollar still loses, and I think it's going to get weaker. Gold temporarily has lost some of its luster. I think this renewed confidence in the euro is causing some of the people to move out of gold and silver. In my opinion, that's a buying opportunity. In fact, if you look at gold versus the Dow, late last week, the Dow hit a new low for the move in terms of gold. We broke down below 8 ounces. We got down below 7.8 ounces of gold. We're now back up around 8.2, but I think that was a significant breakdown in the gold value of U.S. stocks. And even though the stock market is up substantially today in terms of dollars, it's not up that much in terms of other currencies. In fact, it's actually down in terms of some currencies. Oil, of course, is back up around $100 a barrel. So in terms of oil, the stock market is not really making any real gains. I also think part of the reason for the dollar weakness has to do with some comments by Ben Bernanke last week. I didn't get a chance to comment on this blog. I did comment in my commentary on the Europac website. The title of the article, which is still up on my site, is It Ain't Money If I Can't Print It. And that was based on Ben Bernanke's response to Ron Paul's question of whether or not gold was money. Now, of course it's money, but the Fed chairman had to think about it for a while and then answered in the negative. And when Congressman Paul asked him, well, then why do central banks hold gold? Ben Bernanke speculated that maybe it was because of tradition. Yes, the tradition of gold being money. That's why central banks hold it, because traditionally it's been money. And in fact, paper is a poor substitute at best for money, and it is not working. And in fact, when Ben Bernanke was speculating as to why people were buying gold, he actually said that he thought it was because of tail risks that they were worried about, or maybe a political uncertainty. If Ben Bernanke wants to know why people are buying gold, why doesn't he ask the people who are buying it? He can ask me, for example, and I would tell him why I'm buying gold. And it has nothing to do with uncertainty. I'm buying gold because of what I'm certain of, not based on what I'm uncertain of. And I'm certain that Ben Bernanke is going to continue to destroy the value of the dollar. I'm certain that he doesn't know what he's doing, that he's going to keep on printing money, debasing the value of the dollar, causing inflation, and that's why I'm buying gold. I'm buying gold because of his monetary policy, because of Congress's fiscal policy. And I think that's why everybody else who's buying gold is buying gold. That's why every time Ben Bernanke opens his mouth, people buy more gold. Because what he is saying is very scary if you own paper money, but it's music to the ears of the gold buyers. Maybe because Ben Bernanke isn't smart enough to buy any gold, that's why he doesn't know that those of us who have, doesn't know why those of us who have been smart enough to buy have been buying it. One of the stupidest things that he said, which maybe proves that either he's lying or he's not even competent enough to be a teller at a bank, let alone the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is that he told Congressman Paul that he did not think the exchange rate of the dollar has anything to do, has any effect on the domestic purchasing power or domestic prices. I mean, is he serious? So it doesn't matter what the dollar is worth, that the world is going to keep selling us stuff for the same price no matter how much value our currency loses? I mean, is he crazy? I mean, if the dollar loses value, prices go up. The prices of imports go up. The prices of raw materials and other components that U.S. manufacturers use go up. In fact, even if the dollar goes down, more of what we produce will be exported because foreigners will be able to pay more. So Americans are going to have to pay more if they want to keep the goods in our shores. Of course, the dollar's exchange rate abroad affects its value here at home. How can anybody be so irresponsible? And I think it's words like that that inspire fear in our creditors and people who own dollars, particularly, when you've got the President of the United States and the Secretary of Treasury saying that we're going to default on our debt if we don't raise the debt ceiling. I mean, how irresponsible is that? To tell our creditors how low on the totem pole they sit, to officially admit that we are running a Ponzi scheme. I mean, by saying we're going to default if we don't raise the debt ceiling, we're basically saying default is inevitable. It's just a question of timing. Because we're telling our creditors, if we can't borrow more money, we're not going to pay you back what you've loaned us. Which means, this is our ceiling. This is us telling the world we won't borrow anymore. Well, what happens when our lenders say we won't lend anymore? We've loaned you enough money. We don't want to lend you anymore. Well, we've told them what's going to happen. We're going to default. That's what's going to happen. Now, of course, I really don't think we're going to default. I think we're going to print, which is worse. I think our creditors are going to get their money. It's just not going to buy very much. And I think that's what's going to happen now as people start moving their attention from the euro, where you're worried about legitimate default, where you have countries that can't print money, that might have to default, to a country like the United States that doesn't have to default because it can print money. It's precisely because we can print money that lending money to the United States is so risky, and that owning dollars is so risky. Now, I want to move a little bit forward to another con going on. The National Inflation Association, I talked about them before with their pump and dump scheme for mega precious metals. And now they have a brand new pump and dump, I believe, in another stock. In fact, they're actually charging people $1,000 for the name of this stock. And then they're going to scam the people who have bought it. Now, apparently they're giving out the name of the stock tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'll tell you the name of the stock right now. It's AgriCorp. The symbol is GRO. It trades here in the United States. It's already up about 30% today. So maybe the NIA is already buying more shares, or maybe they leaked the information to some of their other members. I don't know. But that's the name of the stock, GRO. Now, they're basing their rosy scenario for this stock on the fact that GRO has a large holding in a New Zealand company called PG Ryson, which is true. They do have a stake. But where I think the NIA is mistaken is they're basing it on dated financial disclosures that have not been updated. I think they are highly exaggerating the value of GRO's position in that New Zealand company, PG Ryson. So I think that thing is totally being hyped up. But actually, in their promotion, they are disclosing that they already own the stock, that NIA has taken a position. But then they're saying that NIA promises not to sell any of their stock for, I think, 2 months or 3 months. But what I think they're not disclosing, and this is just my opinion, is that the real owners of the stock are either somebody who paid Jonathan Lebed or Gerard Adams, or nobody paid them, but Gerard Adams and Jonathan Lebed, through other entities or their personal accounts, have been accumulating shares of GRO, and they're the ones that are going to sell. Because if you look at their disclosures, they don't say that nobody affiliated with National Inflation Association will sell their shares. They just say that the National Inflation Association won't sell their shares. And my whole take on this is that the National Inflation Association is merely a front so that Gerard Adams and Jonathan Lebed can pump and dump stocks through their affiliated companies. And if you notice now that they are disclaiming, they're saying that NIA is not being paid to promote stocks. But they are not saying that people affiliated with the NIA are not being paid to promote stocks. And in this case, I think it really adds insult to injury, where they make you pay to be scammed. They actually pretend that you're going to be among the lucky few who can make a contribution of $1,000 and get the name of this stock. And part of the reason they're saying that this stock is going to be so good is they're touting the success of mega precious metals. And here's the fraud. They're saying that mega precious metals was up 130% or something like that since they recommended it. Well, here's the facts. When they recommended it, it was about 34 cents. But you couldn't buy it at 34 cents because the first day after they recommended it, within the first few minutes of trading, the stock was at 60 cents. So for all practical purposes, if you bought the stock when they recommended it, you paid 60 cents. It's at 62 cents right now. And in fact, it had fallen back down to 42 cents until they really started pumping and pumping and pumping the stock up with more hype. And they got it temporarily to hit 80 cents. And that's what they're basing the success on, the fact that it was at 34 cents where nobody bought it to 80 cents. But it was at 80 cents because their own people were foolish enough to pay that price. The people who were smart were the people who paid them to pump it, and they were dumping it at 80 cents. And again, the stock is back down to 62 cents. But if NIA ever said sell it, the stock would be a dime, maybe a nickel. I mean, who knows where that stock would be if NIA actually told people to sell it. And if people want to get out of it, of course, the price is going to go down. But they're basing this phony success of their last recommendation, and they're using that to con people to pay them $1,000 for their latest recommendation. Again, hopefully the government will do something about this. Maybe the SEC. I think what they're doing is illegal. I think that they're violating security laws, because if you are going to be a paid stock promoter, you have to disclose that you're being paid and who is paying you. And the fact that NIA is not being paid directly, but the owners of NIA are being paid through related companies, that is fraud. And of course, if I'm right on my suspicion here, if Lebed and Adams or somebody affiliated with them owns a position in GRO and they are intending to sell it into the demand that is going to be generated from this promotion without accurately disclosing it, I believe that is fraud as well. Anyway, also want to make one note. Those of you who tuned in to Schiff Radio today, we had some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. We were not able to show the radio show today. Hopefully this video clip will suffice in its place, but we will be doing a show tomorrow. If you're not watching, it's at schiffradio.com. We do the show every day for 2 hours from 10 a.m. to noon. We take calls. And if you want to be a premium member, you can sign up. You can listen commercial-free anytime you want at schiffradio.com. And we have, probably later in the month of August, we are going to be launching all new video effects, maybe in September at the latest. But the video experience for the premium members is going to be a lot more robust than what we have right now. Anyway, that's all for today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know I'm doing this on Thursday, not Friday, but have a great weekend. And I'll be back again blogging next week. Take care.